Hello everyone, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. This time I'd like to talk about you should collect various kinds of people for porn videos. I mean, at first, the target or the subject the subject to listeners of this episode is those who create porn videos and sell those porn videos on, for example, on the internet or in reality. Which means if you create porn videos or if you create some adult contents, not, you know, porn video isn't all the adult content. There are many kinds of adult contents. Like, in my case, I create pictures with captions which are which are a kind of or a type of adult contents. Anyway, what I'd like to tell you is that, as I said in the beginning of this episode, you should collect various kinds of people for the materials of your own adult contents. I mean, so the reason is because, as you know, the world is really huge, and there are many cultures, and the preferences of people are different based on or depending on each culture. For example, in this case, I'd like to introduce the culture of my country. In my culture, slim women or slim ladies or slim girls are popular, comparing with slightly fat people or fat people. I mean, in the case of my country, for example, fashion models or celebrity people are thin, and in this country, and the next door country or the neighbor country, idol business or celebrity business is really popular, and those celebrity people called idols are slim, and which is why what I'd like to say is, the preferences of people are different based on cultures. And for example, in the case of your country, maybe, I think most of the listeners are from the United States or other English-speaking nations, which is why, in the Western countries, or including United States and other European countries, in the case of those countries, curvy women or curvy girls or curvy ladies are popular, aren't they? Because some women or some popular women have huge tights, or there are so many celebrities who are busty, or who'd like to become busty women or busty girls or busty ladies. And this is of course this is a case to women, but in the case of men, the tendency or the preferences it's the same, which means in my country, slim men are popular, comparing with fat people, or for example, muscular people, comparing with such huge people. Slim people are slim men or slim boys are popular in my country. And but in the case of Western countries, or in the case of the countries of white people, preferences are different, which is my understanding. And in the case of Western countries, I think huge people are, or big people are, big boys or big men are popular, comparing with slim people, which is my understanding. And considering which, if you have an account of some porn video streaming service, or if you have an account of a platform for selling porn videos, if possible, you should collect various kinds of people as casts of those porn videos, because some people like slim people, while some people like curvy people, which is why, if you collect the various kinds of people, including white people and Asian people and black people, you can collect views literally from all over the world. I mean, there are many cultures and there are many preferences depending on those cultures. Like black people like black people. I mean, black men like black women, and Asian men like Asian women, and white men like white women. And considering which, you should collect, or you should use various kinds of people as the materials of the adult content you create, which is what I'd like to say, because the world is really huge and there are many cultures in this world, which is why you should collect various kinds of people if possible. If you can pay a lot of money for hiring cast, or asking cast to do some sexual intercourses. As you know, nowadays this era is an era of diversity, which means there are many kinds of people from black people. There are black people, Asian people, white people, and Middle East people. There are many people having different backgrounds. So considering which, if you choose casts of, or if you choose human materials of adult contents, you should gather many kinds of people, or various kinds of people having various types of bodily appearances, which means you should gather some, for example, slim people, and while you should choose, and you should gather some fat people, or you should choose some curvy women, or huge men, for example, or you should choose some men having rich muscle. You should choose so many kinds of people for creating adult contents, which is how you can collect, or you can gather a lot of views from all over the world, and by which you can expand your own wealth and your own business, so that you can become richer and richer, which is what I'd like to say. And that's it. And thank you very much for your listening. See you.